I think that AI for agency owners in particular is going to help with the back end and help with ops and allow the magic of what like the humans are creating to really shine, because then humans are really going to be able to focus more energy on the strategy and more energy on the creative parts of it that AI is never really going to be able to touch.
When you're using AI for copywriting and for marketing ideas, it's going to be absolute junk. You're outsourcing your creative thinking, and that's just a slap to God's face. But you're outsourcing your ideas and your thinking, and what happens is there's going to be atrophy there.
AI can give you good outputs, but it's the quality of the data that goes in determines the quality of the input that comes out.
All right, we're here. We did something really big. We bought an agency, and we're here with the former owner because now we're carrying the torch.
Yep.
Lumina. When I think Lumina, I think light, and I think it's really cool because you're trusting us, Praxis, to carry the torch.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Right? For something that you spent, a decade of your life building. And I know you have quite an amazing background in Silicon Valley, exited to tech startups or tech companies, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm really excited to hear about what Lumina is from you and what it took to build that, your growth story, and just where we got here today.
Yeah, well, let's do it. So yeah, it's funny you say that because we got Lumina from kind of like luminary, like visionary, like the people of the light, which essentially is the clients you guys serve as well. But I launched Lumina about 10 years ago, and it kind of came out of chance because I didn't really grow. I wasn't raised to be an entrepreneur. I was raised to work in corporate, go to school, get my master's, and like climb my rankings and everything. And essentially, I worked about 10 years in Silicon Valley startups and Fortune 500s before I started my agency. And the last startup I worked at was really dope. We had I think 56 million in Series A funding. So we had an incredible team. And working at that company, I essentially served as creative director. And I don't have a design background, but I know how to manage teams. And we liaisoned with a ton of web design companies, developers. We rebranded around 4 times during the time that I worked there. And my direct boss was Mike Randall, who is former head of brand at Snapchat. So he taught me a lot about the psychology of branding, and it all comes back to the end consumer. So really reverse engineering brand from who it's going to be appealing to. So that really inspired me. And through that, I noticed from working with a lot of these global agencies that I was essentially fixing a lot of their work. And I'm such a process and systems person that I was like, I feel like there's a better way of doing this. So I got really inspired. And in 2018, I moved down from San Francisco to LA. And that's where the agency kind of started. I was in this bubble that we're in where all of our friends are creators and entrepreneurs. And somebody asked me to speak for her mastermind. I didn't even know what that meant at the time. I just came straight from Silicon Valley. I was like, what is that?
Before the age of the grifter.
Yes. And I spoke virtually for her mastermind. And at the end of it, 15, 20 people wanted to work with me. And I was like, okay. And I had such a Rolodex from my professional career that I had developers and I had designers and copywriters. So overnight, I just turned into a one-woman agency. And I kind of maintained that for the first year or two. It's just me with contractors doing all the delivery work with the design and creative and everything. And then I eventually hit a point where we were really blowing up. And I just grew it and grew it and grew it. And I also realized a big part of that was because I was just being in the tech space of Silicon Valley. Everything is all about bigger, more revenue, more money. And then all the people who at the time I looked up to were these very bro-y marketers and business people. And I don't quite operate like people like that, but I was building my business like that because I had no awareness into what my energy givers, what my energy drains were, or anything like that. So I was just building and building and building until around 2021, 2022. That's when I kind of rebuilt everything to be super systemized. I kind of changed. We really turned into an asynchronous agency. And that was like the secret sauce for me. That's how we were really able to like provide more value for people. I really built a business that lit me up, which I hadn't had all along. And I really I found this really dope groove. And through the years, it's like we became a best-in-class agency at what we do. We were the first agency to offer custom Kajabi builds. And we offered through the years, we do WordPress, we've done Shopify, we've done Webflow and Showit and everything. But our forte really lied in WordPress and Kajabi because that's where our ideal clients, who are the creators.
Yeah.
They're the people who have info products and courses and podcasts and YouTube, which when you think about the customer lifetime value of somebody coming in that's a personal brand for a web design agency, they're constantly cranking out programs and courses. So they'd come in, we'd really get to know them, and then we would basically be their in-house agency for anything and everything that they do. So I think that's what really contributed to our success. And in the early years, just from me really putting myself out there, going to events, meeting people, really being fresh in LA, I had all these massive influencer clients early on. And then I had this deal with them where through the lifetime of their website, our site was hyperlinked to the bottom of their site.
Mhm.
So we'd get massive web traffic from
course.
all these huge brands. And it was to the point where Natalie Ellis, who's been one of my clients for 8 years,
Boss babes.
Yeah, she told me that all of her high-level mastermind clients, the multiple 7-figure brands would tell her that Lumina would be on their vision boards one day. So it's like we really became that agency that all these people would come to. And yeah, through the years, we worked with Boss Babe, Vanessa Lau, Shalene Johnson, Dave Asprey, my boyfriend Aaron Downing. And really just the best of the best creators in my opinion. And I think we served over 250 clients, multiple more through our productized services and website templates. And also a big part of that too is we used to do fully custom bespoke work. And then when I got in my phase of really streamlining the business, we launched a website template shop, and we also launched a productized service, which we would build websites for people using our templates in 1 week flat. And that was called WebSprint. And that really streamlined the business as well. And it made us way more approachable for a lot of clients, because prior to that, it would be like minimum $25K to build a multi-page site and branding like as the lower price. So that isn't super attainable for a lot of people. So I really built that with wanting to have more of an impact for early stage creators as well.
I met you in 2022, and I think you'd already made the website for another business I'm affiliated with, Somatic. You made like V1, and then we came back to you to do V2 years later. Where were you when I met you? Like, where were you? Because Lumina started in 2018. Yeah. And so you'd already had 4 years on your belt with Lumina specifically.
Yeah.
Like, where were you in your phase of Lumina? And I also want to cover a couple other things that you spoke about, but just for like more context, when we met.
I think
Where
when we
was
met,
that?
honestly, I think I was kind of getting out of the shit show part of it. That was when 2021 was a big year for us. And I think also the way that I built my agency had a lot to do with kind of my personal growth journey as well. Like, I had built something really chaotic, and to me, chaos was very comfortable.
Yeah.
So I think around that, I was like happy in that chaos around then. And then I think I hit a breaking point where I knew it wasn't sustainable to run it the way that I was running it, where everything was just like, and again, this was when we had one service, fully custom service. And we weren't running ads. We weren't doing any marketing, which we still honestly to this day we've never done, which is great. We built everything solely off of referrals.
Incredible.
Powerful.
Yeah. However, in the early stages too, it really took a lot out of me to really get the brand out there and everything. So I think around that point in like 2021, 2022 was when I think I was working a little more than I desired. But I didn't have the awareness yet into knowing that wasn't like my best expression of how I wanted to lead.
Yeah. So I know I ended up buying a template from you, from your template shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I installed it into Kajabi because I'm a massive Kajabi
Loves
fanatic.
Kajabi.
My guy Kevin is
so
not.
unfortunate.
It's an internal
Oh
battle.
my gosh, you're not.
No,
Yeah,
no, it's a war that goes on.
So we're
It's
we're
great.
He
actually
loves it.
we'll be maintaining the Kajabi templates and the WordPress templates, and we even we're going to be expanding the Lumina templates into Go High Level as well
Nice.
because
I can
a
work
lot
with
of
that.
because
That's
of a
very
lot of our
needed.
I can
Yeah.
compromise with that.
a lot of our clients are on Go High Level, and we can save that conversation for another time on why we think Go High Level is superior in many ways. But I'm a huge Kajabi
Every
and
way.
Kajabi hero, Kajabi fan. Lots and lots and lots and lots have done on Kajabi. Now, nonetheless, I remember buying that template for the community I was running at the time, and my friend still runs that community, which is amazing. And it's a similar, I think it's your template, Anna's template. It's that one, the
Nice,
Creative
nice.
Collective.
Was it the one thing group that you're talking
It
about?
was the Build One Thing.
Matt
Yep.
Okay.
Gottesman.
Yep. And what I loved about it so much, because I'm a very, as you know, systems
Yep.
person as well,
Yep.
the fulfillment on installing that template was pristine. Like
Mhm.
it was literally pick your template, click, pick your brand guide, and there was like 120 different types of variations of like colors and color science,
Yes.
fonts, hierarchy of fonts, like things that I didn't even know. I'm like, what do you mean, you know? But the things that the trained eye would know that you already put together, which was amazing. And I really like that because when I see templates, I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna have the same website as everybody. But no, that's not the case.
Right.
That's not the case, right? So it's like it's cool because you thought through that
Mhm.
to where it's like it is a semi-custom,
Mhm.
right? They get to pick their colors, their fonts, or everything, package it all together, and then the next step was my favorite. You get the email, you literally download the zip file for whatever platform, WordPress or Kajabi, drag and drop it, and your website's installed. Like that was the most clutch fulfillment.
Smooth.
Smooth. And it was like, I don't know, like 2-3 videos, maybe 15 minutes worth. I don't even know. And it's like the simplicity of that was, I think simplicity is just the ultimate sophistication. And so it's like my wheels were turning when that happened. I was like, this can fucking rip.
Mhm.
Like this can rip. And it started a conversation later, which was about 1.5 years ago, which we'll progress into. But I just wanted to shout that out and say it really shows how much time and attention you put into it. And I believe you only get there if you'd already been through a really chaotic state, right? Of like bespoke,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Because Praxis, I mean, Derek and I have been doing consulting work on the side since 2022.
Mhm.
I mean, God, since we left Bake Bros,
Yeah,
my
off
former
and on.
business, we've been doing consulting work. We had one client in Phoenix.
Yeah.
I mean, she ended up doing $500,000 months. Like she ended up ripping.
Yeah,
sold.
she like doubled her business after working with us.
Yeah,
it was
it was
crazy.
insane. And like we did that, it was bespoke. We build your CRM, we build some of your call systems and stuff. Never went like deep into it, but it was always nice. And then I would say a year ago, I met this gentleman.
Almost to the day.
Yeah, almost
Wow.
to the day.
Wow.
Yeah. I went to the Hermosi acquisition workshop, and there was
That's
somebody.
a pretty crazy story how
Yeah.
this whole thing intertwines.
And
Yeah.
I think I was talking to the stage presenter or Hermosi or somebody. And the lady behind me, when I was done talking, she was like, hey, I think you need to meet this young guy I met. He ended up taking my call funnel from like 8% to like 32% call bookings in
Yep.
like 6 weeks. And I was like, yeah, I need to talk to him.
Yeah.
Like, now. Can you give me his number? And so she ended up linking us together. I ended up getting home from the workshop, and literally this guy sent me a FaceTime or a video
A video outreach.
outreach, which I was like, that's exactly what I would have done.
That's the energy.
That's
Yep.
what I would have done. And so we ended up getting on a call, and it was like done deal.
Yeah.
Hired him for the business that I run as a CEO, and we've been cranking ever since.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to pull it up on the screen, but like I was showing him the other night, just the sales chart, like the
Yeah.
trailing 12 months, and you can see the first half and the second half,
Yeah.
and it's just like you can't look at that and be like,
And it's for that one company too. And
Yeah.
now we work with 9. So
Exactly.
intertwined.
Yeah.
And so there's some adjustments at that business. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to go deeper into the consulting because names started getting tossed around, and that was really, really helpful. a few people started reaching out to me, and I was like, oh man, I started taking it on, doing like fractional operations work. And I'm like, okay, I'm a really good operator, and fractional operations kind of sucks.
For
Tough.
sure.
Kind of sucks.
Yeah, my
right?
God.
It's
You have all the responsibility and hardly any control.
and it's super
Not much reward, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
like being a
super
step-parent.
bespoke. You're coming into businesses that are already like absolute mess, right? Or sometimes they'll like we only have like one or two people where we came in. I'm like, I can see exactly what's going on here. Good job, right? Let's rip.
Yeah.
Other ones were like coming in and you're trying to piecemeal it and pull it all together, and culture's crazy, and it's like
Yeah.
there's so many stuff, things are placed everywhere. So you're like, instead of like cleaning it up, what we're trying to do is like, we need to blow this up and rebuild it, right? And so over time, it was like I was taking on these clients, just me and Derek, and again, it being so bespoke was a nightmare. And I started realizing I don't want to do this. It's actually at your mastermind that I was like, I feel fractured.
Yeah.
And then I was like, wait, my bio says fractional COO. And I was like,
Broken by
whoa.
profession.
Yeah. And
Light bulb.
and I remember you had Nick Shackelford at which is a legend, doing a speaking thing, and I spoke to him, and I was like, I have like 200 grand in client deals that I can't sign right now. I was like, and it's the worst feeling ever, because I'm like, they want to work and we can't fulfill, right? And it's almost like I don't want a wait list, like gross. And so it came clear to me that I was like, I need to find someone that's like 10 years younger than me that just wants to rip, right? And then Kevin came to mind, and I was like, wait, Kevin's got his marketing agency. He had, you had 3 or 4 or 5 clients or whatever.
Yeah, I was running similar to you. I was just a solopreneur, solo agency owner, running and gunning, kind of picking up jobs where I could get them.
And Derek's whole thing, or Kevin's whole thing, is copy first. Copy first marketing.
Yeah.
Like copy is everything.
The message
sure.
is the
Same.
king.
I would say that's the same thing with website design. People would come to me and they'd be like, "Oh, make me a pretty site."
Yeah.
And I'd be like, "Funny enough, the words are the most important part of the site.
Exactly.
It's website. It's not how pretty something is. It's the actual messaging and the simplicity, and that's the hardest part."
Yeah. And that's what the name came from.
Which
Copy
you
first.
actually didn't design this website on the page, but you did go back and forth with me on the text, and you were like, "Hey, one thing you need to make really clear is the idiot-proof statement." Like the first thing they see, and like we make thought leaders, entrepreneurs, creators impossible to ignore.
Yep.
Right, and we do that by building and running and scaling live virtual events that turns your audience into customers. Very plainly sent. We put ass in seats, click to close. As long as you can sell, we'll fill the seats.
Exactly.
So, all that to say, I come back from that mastermind and I call him and I was like, "Hey, I've got a handful of clients. You've got clients. I would love to bring you in on this. Like, we'll just me, you, and Derek, third, all the way through. I am a fan of giving equity. I'm like, when you see someone and you align with them, like through integrity and character, I'm like, just do it. Like, just fucking give the farm away to them if you trust them.
Get
right?
everybody all in.
Get everybody all in, right? And so I could tell there was a little bit of hesitancy at first. And I said something. I was like, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Yeah.
And I could tell that like landed for you.
Made sense.
And I think where we landed on that call was like, how about this? Let's keep working together the rest of 2025. I'll pay you per client that we bring on to our business. And at the end of the year, if you want to do this, just let me know. And you're like, hey, I want to come to Austin. And it was December.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was like, it's ripped.
Yeah.
Right. Like we've merged clients, we've consolidated, and we got rid of a lot of the bespoke stuff we were doing. When I would say we're about 15, there's only like maybe 15% left that's bespoke, which we're kind of like phasing out.
Yeah.
And it's been really cool to like organize our internal infrastructure, right? Because praxis does mean to be in practice. That's what it means. Yep. And that's that's one of the big value adds that we have to our people, is that everything that we're doing for your business, we're doing for ourselves in our own business. So it's
we have our hands in other businesses where we're actually doing it. We're not just
correct
coaching or assigning SOPs to the businesses that we work with, and we're like, good luck.
Yeah.
We're actively taking learnings. I mean, not every test we run works.
Yeah.
But we combine those learnings over time, and then anybody who joins, I'm like, you get the most up-to-date, what's working right now, and you get to skip the line from everybody else that we're working with.
Yeah, it's the most anti-grifter agency ever because, again, you may be doing, let's say you're at like $1 million a year. We're working with other businesses that are doing $30 million a year, $50 million a year.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, we're running our playbooks with their dollars, which is a much larger sandbox
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
we get to say, oh, this worked over here. Let's see if it works over here. And it works.
I like how you hesitated when you said we spend their dollars, but it's like,
It's the truth.
but it's the
Yeah.
truth,
and
which
it
is like,
works. If it didn't
we're in
work,
such a leveraged position.
yeah.
The value proposition of working with us, one of the many, is if you're going to learn more than us, you're going to have to outspend us in all these different industries. Like,
Yeah.
how can you possibly compete with us three who are running full steam ahead and learning in 10, 15 different niches and verticals, spending hundreds of thousands of dollars a month on ads and gathering all those learnings and passing them on to you
Yeah.
the second you sign with us?
Yeah. And it doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're spending $0 on ads or $200,000 a month on ads. Like if you're an amateur, a beginner, or pro basketball player, you still got to start with the beginning, which is tying your shoes before you get on the court.
Right.
Right. And like that's playbook number one. Tie your shoes, don't roll an ankle.
Mhm.
Right. And so a playbook is a playbook. And when you're a systematic thinker,
Yeah.
like having solid playbooks is how you can deploy across many different companies and support many different people. And so I bring that up because your mastermind, which we'll get to, was a pivotal moment. I've been to a few of them, and I know that's what's been like supporting this transition is that you're going deeper into the mastermind, which you have a mastermind for agency owners, right? Which is fantastic. But before we get into that, I know you had like a moment, maybe like I won't call it a breaking moment, but maybe a moment of realization in 2021, because you spoke lightly about the burnout, but I do want to talk a little bit more about that. Like, where were you? What was that burnout moment? What did that do for you?
Yeah, so I think it was a very like physical process for me. Like
Mhm.
all of my like my labs, my panels, my hormones through my Dutch test, everything was really like flatlining. And it all, I've been working with a health coach for a while, and it was all from adrenal fatigue. And I'm the person where my parents were both immigrants.
Mhm.
They worked a lot. So I always had this story where I associated a lot of work and a lot of output with success.
Yeah.
So that took me a very long time to undo that in my own way as well and figure out like how I can really create the impact that I desire while still taking care of my body and taking care of myself. And it was definitely one of those things that I think I became such a master of my craft the
Mhm.
more I was able to optimize my own energy and my own vitality too.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
No, I was just curious. Did you notice that in your body first? Was that the first sign, or was there a psychological component?
Yes, body. I started getting. I got like a mast. I became like super mast cell
Mhm.
sensitive, and then also all of my, from a hormone perspective, everything kind of really plummeted, and then that
Yeah.
had long-term effects on my energy levels and my cognition. I think I'm the kind of person though that like my brain's always really sharp.
That's what I wanted to point to,
Yeah.
because I think a lot of high-performing people fall into this,
Yes.
where their mind is so sharp and dialed that their body then crashes, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, what's happening?
Yeah.
And then the psychology, it's like, oh, there was all these things that I was ignoring.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to see if that was true for you.
And then also like a nervous system thing.
Yeah.
I think like back then, I think I was very frenetic.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like I always had a lot of inputs and just like, and then the thing that a lot of people really close to me noticed like a year or two after that, 2022, 2023, that I just became more like grounded, more in my body, just more like embraced like being slow and being bored more.
Yeah.
I think that really changes the way that other people perceive you.
Absolutely. It also helps you make better decisions,
Yes.
which I think perfectly fits into how then you pivoted in your business.
Mhm.
And that's something I think a lot of people just aren't fully aware of when they're fully steam ahead,
Yes.
no zooming out.
Yeah, and the funny thing too is back when I worked in Silicon Valley, I always had bosses and mentors that really, men and women that taught me so much. And then one day I kind of realized I was like, I don't really want to outside of business. I'm there. The way that they approach their health and their time with their family and all these other things, I was like, I don't know if that's what I'm going for. So why am I making this person my mentor? And why am I
Mhm.
taking their playbook?
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And a lot of what I teach people now is like, Nadim knows this about me. I hate Zoom calls. Like the way my creativity works is like if I have one call at 2 p.m. in the middle of the day,
It cooks your whole first morning
my
of your day.
entire I'm just
Yep.
like anticipating it, and then like
Yep.
I weirdly get into like flow right before it, and then I resent the
Nice.
call. It's like immediately before. So and also that the way like I kind of time block work is very unique.
Mhm.
And also I think there are a lot of personality types like the feedback loop of one-on-one conversations. And that is very different. Like, for example, if you and I have a Zoom call together and we're going through strategy
Yeah.
versus if you are hosting a Zoom call for 30 people and you're walking through a presentation.
Mhm.
The latter for me is more energy giving. The former is like kind of a little, it's not unpleasant, but it's more draining if I'm doing that for more than like an hour and a half.
Got it.
So, but everybody's different.
Yeah.
We all like genetically, we're all different. And the thing that I really teach people now is how to really get an understanding of their outputs and like the way that they work. And it all really comes down to like literally your genes and the
Mhm.
way your body creates your neurotransmitters, how you process dopamine, and that's able to kind of gauge your energy levels. And a lot of the people too, like more or less so, like even like the Hormozis, for instance, you know, I would not be able to run a business like them, you know, with like the way that their schedules are packed, this and this. But like in the early parts of my career, I was listening to people like that and being like, okay, I need to do this and da 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 da. And I was building a business based on somebody else's blueprint when I didn't have the awareness of how I operate. And through the years, I've seen so many patterns with founders, with the ways that they lead. Like, I might not like Zoom calls. I know so many people that love Zoom calls.
Got one right here.
So, yeah.
That's
See,
me.
there
They
you
give me
go.
I'm
so much
thankful
energy.
for
I
this
tell
man.
these guys, like, just load me up.
Yeah.
I can do it all
Yeah.
day.
We're makers. He's naturally a manager.
Okay.
So
Okay.
he gets energy from the interaction. Him and I are like, get us off this.
Deep
Yeah.
work.
I'd rather hang
Yes.
out.
Deep work.
Yeah.
I'd
Yes.
rather hang out with him and build
Yeah.
and not be on the call. Right.
Yeah,
It's
we,
like-
we literally have like we
set it
call it
up that way.
Project Midnight Oil. Where
That's
like,
why it's the name of the podcast, because him and I stay up way too late.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and, like-
Same. I just had a conversation with him about this. I get my best work done after 9 p.m.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
nobody's, it's just me.
Nobody
That's
wants
when I
you.
can just like cook.
Yeah.
I
She
love
gets
it.
it.
I love
Yeah.
it. She gets
Yeah,
it.
She
but
gets
see, you need all of us. To
Yeah.
keep-
Yeah.
And there are
I mean, you
other
do.
there are other personality types too. And like a great example of this was around that 2021, 2022 mark is when like I had like something, I don't remember the exact number. I had something like 25 team members and like an extra like 15 contractors. And with that, I had to have a lot of like check-in calls and management and this and this. And then when I kind of burnt everything down to the ground and I rebuilt, I was like, I don't want any full-time employees. I want like one. I want my operator. I was like, I just want
Yeah.
one person.
She's goated.
Yeah, and then everyone else, I just want to work as contractors because I don't want to do them. And it was just the emotional management too. I'm the kind of person where if I have a team, I want to have a good relationship with everyone. I want to check in with them, and that's exhausting. And
Yeah.
I've had clients that didn't have a very good family unit growing up, so they essentially created a business so they can have that. And they wanted to have an in-person office and a
Yeah.
big team to kind of satiate one of their desires for what they lacked
makes
growing
sense.
up. So it's like everyone, and it doesn't always make sense to have an in-person office or a big team. However, it's like, what are you building your business for?
Yeah.
You know, to like fill something within yourself. And we all have different motivators for it. But I think it really comes down to the awareness into what works for you. And then like, how do you really build something for you?
Yeah, you said something that stuck out, which was you burn it to the ground. What changed after that, and what does that mean?
So by that, I meant getting rid of my full-time team members. And that was scary because at that point I had, and the way sorry.
My favorite part of you.
The nervous
Sometimes-
system's boiling.
Sometimes I get really excited. I'm like,
What I love about Anna is
circuit.
like she's Gemini, just like my little sister. My little sister and I are like the closest. And I just love it when you have those moments because it's so nostalgic for me because my sister's the same way. She's like,
Yeah. Guys, I was just about to start talking about org charts. That's why I got excited. But something
Love
is I love looking at teams' org charts and I love looking at different styles of business org charts. And so for me, it was essentially redoing my org chart.
Yeah.
And when my agency was really big, it's like I was just like, okay, like we're doubling, tripling, quadrupling the amount of clients we have, so I need to increase my designers, developers, and then also account managers. So the way that our org's always set up is like account managers for, let's say, a web design or branding project, account managers manage the client. They are the strategy. They do no building. And then they protect our designers and developers so those creatives never have to talk to the client. And they protect them from revisions. They protect them from scope creep. So I've always attracted these creatives and I offer them this job where I'm like, guess what? You don't have to deal with people.
Yeah.
We do that for you. So it's like kind of like good cop, bad cop as well.
It's a
Because
great
like
offer.
the account manager is like, or my operator, Stephanie, would come in and be bad cop and protect them from their relationship that they have with the account manager.
It's so important.
So I've always been really close to my account managers. And then when we triple, quadruple the amount of people we had, then I was like, oh shit, I need to get a tech manager to only manage the development of the projects or oversee that because I can't do it at that point.
Right.
And then also a creative director. And those were like 6-figure plus salaries that are digging, because you need to have like pretty much duplicate my creative director brain, duplicate my tech brain at like a high level. So I found my org chart, I found where the maximum is, where like, okay, if it's bigger than this, then I need to hire like middle managers and they're going to be really expensive and that's really going to be digging into the margins substantially.
Right.
So I was like, let me just like, my operator and I really just sat down and I was like, how much money do we want to make? Because I was like, I can make as much money as we want to. But like that was too much, honestly. I was like, let's like have like a really slow like quarter and figure out like what that looks like where I get paid, you get paid. We're kind of just like having a very regulated way of doing business. And also that was around the time I'm trying to think because I took Somatics breathwork certification.
2023.
Yeah, earlier that year too, I signed up for a virtual 12-month somatic practitioner training too. That's when I really got into nervous system stuff. And then so to Stephanie, I was like, what would feel good for our nervous system?
Yeah.
Like waking up, not having 30 Slack messages, like what's a good amount of client, at this point she's now managing a lot of our projects. Like how many projects do you want to be managing that you would like your job? What does that look like?
Yeah.
And then
questions people don't ask.
Yeah, so there's a lot of wisdom in sitting down and saying, how much money do I
Seriously.
want to make?
Yeah.
We always were programmed and like broken to like no speedometer, just keep going.
More is better.
For sure.
But to sit down and be like, how much do I really need here to like be happy? You list out.
Need and want are different.
Yeah.
Well, like
Wants are different.
Need to like fulfill the life that you have envisioned for you and your family.
Yeah, exactly.
And then write out the monthly cost, add it up and be like, there we go.
Yeah.
One of the most powerful things I've ever done is a mentor of mine. His name's Chris Harder. Are you guys familiar with him?
Savage.
I've heard him.
We bumped into him at Kajabi. No. That was Chris Doe. But yeah, Chris Harder.
Yeah.
He's in Phoenix, I think.
Yeah, he had a place in Scottsdale.
Yeah. Him and his wife both are savages.
They're like goats in the space.
Yeah.
They're like back in 2020 I signed up for their mastermind. I don't think they're doing the same exact mastermind that I signed up for anymore, but it was like a big investment. It was like a $40,000 investment and I literally quadrupled the amount of money I put in there because I ended up working with like everyone there and I got on some massive podcasts.
Yeah, they'd be someone I would recommend like we tap into sometime because like
sure.
they're goated.
Yeah, they're really great. And so Chris is like, and they've been around for a long time as well. Like they're like
over a decade.
Yeah. And I did some one-on-ones with him. And I remember during our first one-on-one, and this was well before this whole process where I was like, I really need to figure this out. But he would go through and create a spreadsheet and be like, let's build your perfect life. He'd be like, what's your perfect life like down the line? And what's like a dream life for you to have right now? So there's the now version and then the future version. And how much money are you making? Like what's your rent cost? What about your car? Are you buying a car? Are you leasing a car? What does it cost? How often are you traveling? Quarterly, monthly, da-da-da-da. What are you spending on self-care? What are you spending on this? What are you spending on that? And literally going through every single expense, totaling that up, and then figuring out how much money I need to make in a year. And then based on profit margins, how much my business needs to make in order to fulfill that. And he'd be like, you don't need to make any more money than that because you're literally giving up your lifestyle by doing that. So it's I think so much comes down to awareness. And that is a step that a lot of people don't take, but I think it's super important.
Have you read the book Die with Zero from Bill Perkins?
I've heard of it, but I haven't.
Okay, so he talks about, it's just so related to what you're talking about, where he talks about marginal use per dollar earned or per dollar spent. And it's like every dollar you earn, he describes as money is just a way to exchange for life energy.
Yeah.
And it's like you make the trade of life energy for money in the hopes that you can invest that money and buy it back, right? Like you're just buying time. And so people never really consider or think about every dollar I go out and earn, I'm trading my life for, but then it doesn't return that and greater back to my life when I go to spend it.
Yeah.
So you're literally wasting your life chasing money you can't get utility out of.
Yeah.
And then you usually wait so long to retire because you think you need so much more. And then you can't get as much out of money at 65 as you can at 45.
Yeah, exactly.
People don't
Yes.
talk about that, right?
Thank you. This was you just summarized my 30s. I
Yeah.
keep telling that
That
to
was the
myself.
whole book, by the way. In about 2 minutes. That was the whole book. You don't need to read it
Sweet. I was
anymore.
gonna
Save
ask
you a
you for it,
read.
but I think we're good.
Cliff note.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was a great process that I did with Chris. But then my operator and I sat down and we did that together around that phase, and then we figured out what that looked like, and then we just started building. And I had built the template shop a little bit before that, but I was like, wait, why don't we? Because the way I mentor coaches, because around 2021, 2022, I started it before I really burnt everything to the ground. I started having a lot of people reach out to me on Instagram being like, oh, can you coach me? Can you mentor me? And I was always like, I'm not a coach. Like, I'm an entrepreneur. I am in an agency. I'm not like, because we live we're in a bubble where everyone's a fucking coach.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not coaching you. But then over time, I was like, why not? I was like, I'm not going to identify as a coach, but if somebody wants my support, and then eventually I started getting a lot of coaching clients.
Yeah.
And then I started doing these VIP days, which were like 1-day immersions with me. And I think 2022, I was doing 2 of those a month.
Nice.
So I worked with a lot of people, and you know what they cost. So
Yeah.
it was like proportionately the amount of money I was making from my coaching business without even really trying.
Right.
I never had a website for it or anything like that. It was just word of mouth. I was doing really well. So I think I started bringing in money through this like coaching, consulting, and I advised for some companies too. And then in 2023 was when I started my mastermind. And I was like, I've never seen a mastermind for agency owners in particular, because you guys know we have a very unique business model.
Yeah.
And-
Super ops heavy. It has interesting
Yeah.
challenges that other types of online businesses just don't have.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
people mistake like operations and marketing operations. Like they are different.
Yeah.
They are very different,
Yeah.
right? And a lot of what we do is marketing operations,
Yeah.
right? And go ahead.
Yeah, that's a very good point too, because like even my boyfriend Aaron, who's a creator, he's like he knows there's this role that he wants to have in house, and he's like, I need somebody that's like really good at ops, but then like marketing ops is very different, and you need to
Yeah.
like understand
Yeah.
all
Oh,
these
yeah.
analytics and metrics and what to do, where a normal person in ops would have no idea.
Yeah, and what I can use as a distinction for people listening is that marketing operations is going to you're going to be more heavily, you're going to lean more heavy into strategy of marketing built into operations, right? So there's like the
Yeah.
big planning of it, right? So it's like you can plan it, and then you can, traditional org chart is like you have your CMO, which understands KPIs and strategy at a high level, and then they trickle it down to the team to execute it, right? Whereas like marketing operations and just where we've evolved, I think a lot of like Naval Ravikant, right? Where
Yeah.
like these teams get smaller and smaller and smaller because like it's almost like you have specialists within generalism. You have
Yeah.
these generalists that are specialized, which I know it's like counterintuitive. But what happens is a marketing operations team, like such as ourselves, we come in with high level strategy and know exactly how to deploy it, right? And then the key piece here is that you know how point A affects B, C, and Z, right? So you know how it trickles downstream, to the end.
But if you don't have the operations, you can't see any of that.
Correct. Correct. And so like operations, where that's slightly different, operations is, usually hand in hand with like the CEO if you're not an operating CEO. And operations is going to be a lot more heavily leaning towards health of the business and team management.
Yep.
A lot more team management. So one thing like Praxis doesn't do is we don't come in and manage your team, right? And although that's a desired thing, we can do that, and that's like a byproduct.
We won't.
Yeah.
It's a
No,
byproduct. We
Tried
won't.
that.
Yeah.
And I think that's also really important, because a lot of people that I work with, I help them put their teams together.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And what you just described, like having a true operations person, whether it's like operations assistant, manager, director, whatever, that's an in-house hire.
Yeah.
You don't
Oh,
hire a
yeah.
VA for
No.
it. You just that's somebody that you want to feel like being a part of your team.
Yeah.
Whereas what you guys do is something that should be outsourceable. Because think about somebody hiring either of the three of you full time. And then also, I know how your guys' brains work too. And it's like you like the process and you want to do that for different clients
Yeah.
and you want to iterate and you want to grow and you want to like see contrast through working with different types of businesses to keep like further refining your craft.
Yeah.
And I think that you know, a lot of times I see people when, you know, they're wanting to hire, like nobody ever knows when to hire an agency
Yeah.
versus when to hire in-house team members. And I'm in so many group chats with a lot of friends that are all creators and they're always like, hey, I need to hire this person or I need to hire that person. They don't know what they need to hire. But it's like, I think a lot of, for instance, what we did at Lumina is, you know, we deploy these websites and essentially these websites were from 10 years of experience building
Right.
multiple seven-figure sites for creators. It's like once it's done, it just like you crank them out and it's quicker, it takes less time, and you're just constantly perfecting it. And then you know the client's business model because you've worked with
Yeah.
so many
Different
programs
verticals,
like that.
yeah, in different
Yeah.
industries.
Exactly. And that's like what you guys are doing. And it's like you're bringing in a shit ton of money for a lot of these brands. And then you're bringing that same strategy over to any other client that you have.
Yeah. There's a reason why the Praxis Lumina deal acquisition came alive, and that's because you've spent a decade and your 20 years of expertise in developing beautiful front end presentation for
Exactly.
personal brands and designs. But what many people miss is that once this is up and running, what does the back end look like?
Yeah, how do you
Right.
take it
Yeah.
from a view to an actual purchase?
Exactly. What
Yeah.
happens when somebody clicks that button up there, book a walkthrough?
Yeah.
100%. And that's also something when I've worked with agency owners, sometimes let's say they're coming to me and they're wanting to start an agency and they're like, I want to do all these things. I want to do website design. I want to do Instagram. I
Typical,
want to
yeah.
do this,
So I want to
that.
do everything.
Yeah. And it's like a Chinese menu. And one of my favorite books, I think I was talking to you about this a while back, is Built to Sell.
Yeah.
Have
Yes,
you?
I've heard of it. I've heard of it. I haven't read it.
It's an excellent book. It's like really small. It's like kind of it's read like a fiction book about this like ad agency owner.
Okay.
But I read that early on, and I hired mentors the moment I started. The moment I was out,
Really smart.
it was like I was working, and I was basically moonlighting at my agency for the first few months while I was still working virtually for my company in San Francisco. So I was doing 10K months with very high margins. And then I was like, let me hire a coach. As soon as I was like, I want this to be my full-time thing. And within 2 months, he brought me from 10K to 40K. And then I coasted at that for a while. And then like I joined that mastermind. And then like it just like went up and up and up exponentially just from having somebody else's playbook
Yeah.
of how to really do it right. And then like even Nick Shackelford that Nadeem brought up earlier, he's like a goat in the agency space and also in the e-commerce space.
Yeah.
And he's been mentoring me for the last few years. So it's like I've seen a lot about the nuance of like the agency space.
Yeah.
And it's a very unique beast. But one of the most important things I think is not being a jack of all trades Chinese menu. And a lot of people do that out of scarcity because they're
Yes.
like, oh, this person's coming in. Let me
Right.
do everything for them.
Yep.
How are you going to be the best at everything?
Right.
You can only really, and then also from a systems perspective, how can you understand, like create these really tight SOPs for like a million different processes?
Nightmare.
Yeah. So like when I work with people, I tell them, I'm like, no, you need to be the best at one thing. You need to like really be goated at one thing and then over time acquire other companies that are goated in other things. But don't try to create a team and build a team and workflows around everything too.
Yeah.
A lot of
So-
wisdom in that.
So, I mean, you kind of already talked about the mastermind, like when it came into the picture, and you know, I'm not a coach. I actually look at you more as like an advisor or mentor,
Nice.
right?
Thank you.
And like that, when I associate mastermind, I'm looking for mentors, right? And so, how did the mastermind shift like your relationship with Lumina now that it's in full effect?
Yeah. So basically, that year that we really kind of rebuilt everything again, really like slow, and then that's when we really obsessed over the systems. And like I've always known to have SOPs, to have KPIs, this and this, but we really, really tightened everything up then. And it felt really easy and good. And then I booked a trip to Bali in December, and I was going to go for a week, and I ended up staying like a month.
Classic.
And
Classic
while I was
story.
there-
That's the
classic.
arc right
I'm
there.
on my way in
Yeah.
July.
Agency owner, coach, Bali. Complete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing too with Bali is Nadeem and I were talking about this, especially from people who were like, you know, so tied to like Slack notifications and emails and this and that and texts like all the time. And as people who like really thrive off of like uninterrupted work. W- Being in Bali, it's like you wait, if you want to get a little work in the morning, you have an hour before like 9 a.m. or something. And then all day is when everyone's sleeping.
Yeah.
So it's like every time you pick up your phone, there's nothing new.
I can't wait.
There's nothing new.
Mm.
So you're just on your own and having that white space
Yeah.
and then also being somewhere that's very just like if you're in the womb
Yeah.
of the earth, it's just like hot, sunny, rainy, like it's like a jungle.
Can't wait.
Mhm.
And it's incredible. And there are like all these really great coffee shops and just there's great gym culture out there. And you just feel like you're in this different world. And when I was there, I just felt like I could finally tap into my vision and I
Mhm.
could create. I'm not the kind of person, if you're like, okay, Anna, like, let's create a new service. Let's sit down and do it. I'd be like, it just needs to come to me. It needs to come to me when I feel really inspired. So I didn't plan it, but when I was in Bali, I was like, this is what I need to do. Because I looked at all the times that I reached out to mentors to get their playbook.
Yeah.
And then I also thought about how isolating it feels as a business owner sometimes. And then also, it's not just about having business owner friends. It's like, imagine how dope it would be to have a group of people that have businesses very similar to you and they have the same issues as you, the same problems, and you can really lean in on everyone. And then also, I run this agency and I'm the kind of person where I'm just always fucking around and finding out. I'm a
Yeah.
big process person. I want to find the best software for this. I want to do this. I fuck up a lot. I uncover magic sometimes, but it's like I want to share that with people.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, and also like, you know this about me. It took me a while to realize too that like I think my gifts are in like curating people, and you guys will see that with like creating my team and then like bringing people together. So I was like, let me do a really high touch mastermind that's like really small, like under 15 people, that I'm like hand selecting everyone as somebody that I would want to hang out with.
Mm.
They're people that I want to hang out with, and I respect what they're doing in their business, and I want to learn from them too.
Mhm.
So in a way that it's not like, hey, we're coming in, I'm your teacher, this is the curriculum, this is what we're going through, but more so like I want to get a group of peers together,
Yeah.
and I'm going to be teaching just really lifting the curtain on like everything that we're doing to try to teach people and save them time and money. And I'd give out all of our resources, all of our discovery forms, all of this. Hey, we just redid our Notion thing. Here's my ManyChat funnel that really worked for this, and just like giving it over to them. And yeah, it just created such a great community doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been in these groups. Like they're great. Like I adore everyone that I've been able to have in these containers last few
I
years.
just bumped into somebody, I can't say her name, but at my favorite local watering hole here in Austin, Texas, Proud Mary.
That's Nadeem's second home.
And
Yeah,
she came up to
literally.
me and she was like, "Hey, how's it going?" You know, we were talking, and I hadn't seen her since the mastermind. And lo and behold, she was like, "How are you doing since the mastermind?" Because I know you were like, in having that moment of like this fractured moment, right? And I was like, "Dude, we're ripping now. Like, it has been a complete 180. Like, I feel so good. I have the help that we need. Like, our team is solid. We're clear on ICP. Like, we've made." It's that whole saying, like, people overestimate what they can do.
Yeah, they overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate in 5.
Yeah, I was like that to a T, and she was like, same. She was like, I was struggling like when I came, and she was like, I ended up discontinuing one of my most lucrative offer, which was really scary to me. To her, that's what she was saying. She was really scary to her, and then she ended up getting acquired.
Great.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, and it was like big deal.
Yeah.
Big deal, right? And it's like, you just don't know what's going to come from those moments or those experiences like that. And she's like, I attribute it to the mastermind.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was like, it's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool because I haven't been to one, but
Yeah.
watching you bring people who in my mind otherwise would be competing with each other
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
not
into
like that.
one
yeah.
place
Yeah.
where everyone it's like if you got all the NBA team owners to come together and they're all talking about their training programs, and like it's just really interesting. And now that I'm hearing you talk about it, it's such a testament to who you are as a person
Thank
and
you.
the frame that you cultivated around that event.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I can't wait to have you guys at like the events and give you guys a chance to meet everyone because you'd be such value adds. That's literally, I look at everyone, I'm like, who would be a value add to the room.
Yeah.
You know?
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
She's literally told me like this person can't come.
Yeah.
They will remain unnamed. Well, that's the point of the mastermind, right? Is it's not just if it was a coaching program, it'd be called a coaching
Yeah,
program.
I mean, it's a
Yeah.
vibe.
A
cultivator.
mastermind is, hey, I'm gaining entry with dollars, but you need more than dollars. You need to
Yeah.
be contributing to the group in some way.
Yeah.
For
Like
sure.
you have to bring a unique value proposition that
Yeah.
we don't get
Yeah.
because together, it's like the pyramid thing. The wider the base, the higher the tip.
Yeah, which
So
is what I
everybody's
love
unique.
about it because it's like it's not a hangout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's not a hangout. Go to a local event here and do that or something.
Yeah.
So transitioning out of that, I've been to multiple masterminds. I've seen how they've done. You've gotten amazing people there. At what point were you like, I'm going to sell this hoe?
Yes. When can I sell this bitch? Yeah. So interesting enough, early on. So actually, even backtrack before I launched Lumina, I co-founded 2 tech companies before I turned 30, and I exited one. And that process, to me, I felt like I got my MBA. And like and then I was like, oh shit, like you got to sell your company. Like that's where it's at, And so when I actually started the agency, again, at first, it's like kind of going back to how you and I were jack of all trades.
Yep.
Like, have you seen that meme where it's like I'm I run a multidisciplinary studio. And
Yeah.
it's Harold. It's 8 of him. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't really take it as seriously then, but as soon as I was like, I really want to grow this bitch. As soon as I made that decision, I was like, I need to get smart with what I do. And one of my mentors at the time, he told me, he was like, as you're really creating this, you have to think about like, are you going to be running this forever? Because also, like, what if this is just a thing that you just have running on the side for the rest of your life?
Right.
You could just be, if it gives you a lot of like, if it's bringing you a lot of joy, and why not just keep it going for a long time? You could sell it, or you can eventually bring on a business partner to run it. And that was also something big that I learned from Nick Shackelford as well. When Nick and Aaron
Yeah.
were at, they spoke at the last retreat, and they both like have run agencies.
Mhm.
And then they
Run
grew
agencies.
it. Yeah. So Aaron runs Lucid.
Mhm.
Lucid is I think it's a web design or design agency specifically for cannabis brands
Mhm.
Mhm.
and psychedelic brands and things like that.
Holy niche.
Seriously.
Holy shit. You got like 4 clients.
Yeah, and then Nick, he has an agency and then like a template shop basically for ads.
Mhm.
And he is structured agency. They're one of the top performance marketing agencies. Specifically, I think they
Kills
work.
it.
Yeah, crushes.
He's over 10 million a year. I mean, he
Nice.
openly shared. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's not an easy feat.
No,
Yeah.
especially with all the ops required.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, and then they both or Aaron brought Nick on to Brez.
Yeah.
Do you remember how much Brez does? I think
60 million a year.
yeah.
60
And-
million
That's the
ARR.
drink company,
You're-
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're like year 2 or year 3 or something
Yeah,
like
damn.
that.
Wow.
So
Hyper
it's like-
growth.
Yeah, they're both, and then now Nick is like, he's my mentor and he's a speaker and he's a this and he's a that. And I'm like, how the fuck do you run an agency and you have your beverage line and all that? And then at the mastermind, they're all telling us like, hey, we have operators running the agencies, and they're like my personality type. They're like, we handle deal flow.
Yeah.
We speak on stage. We do this. We do that. We like increase. We
Their highest point of leverage.
Ultimate goal.
Yeah.
yeah
Ultimate goal.
yeah.
Yeah.
They
Like-
shake, kiss. What is it? Kiss babies and
Shake hands and kiss babies.
Not shake babies and kiss hands.
Definitely not
No.
that.
I don't know. So, so that, to me, that was really eye opening. And then, and anyways, so early on, I knew I was like, okay, they're gonna be one of these 3 routes. I think it'd be nice to sell it one day. And early on, and this is the advice that I give all of my clients that are agency owners, regardless of what they want to do with their agency, even if they want to keep it forever, I'm like, remove yourself from the website. So I've never had an about it's like, or God forbid, even early on when it was just me, like, hey, I'm Anna, like this is what I do, like this is my
Right.
studio, blah blah blah, and really make it about me, because then everybody that comes in is going to expect you to be delivering the project and
That's
expect
really
your
interesting
eyes
advice,
on it.
actually,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
it's so in the world of personal brand. That's so opposite of what everybody else is saying, which is like people don't buy from businesses; they buy from people.
Yes.
And so, yeah, could you explain a little bit
Here's
more
the
about that?
nuance of that too.
Yeah.
I 100% believe that. Like I've always said, it's like I always think it's like the H2H model, human to human. People buy from humans, and
Yeah.
I've been the number one funnel of clients into the agency. But I
yeah.
make it very,
You
very
spread them out.
clear.
You're like, this is me, personal brand,
Yes.
Anna. This is Illumina.
Correct. And
I
say
run
like
this, but these are their own separate entities.
yeah, and when I would talk about it in person to people, or I talk about it on Instagram, I'd be like, hey, this is my agency. Like, work with my team. And like my team is the
Okay.
one that I'm nowhere near as good as them. I'm not a designer. Like they're the ones that do everything, but it
Smart.
happens to be my company. And even in our sales process, because even if we would get people that like somehow go through my Instagram or something else, like you've seen our contact form flow, but like our contact form flow, it's like you get a video from me that's like, hi, I'm founder of Lumina. Can't wait to get my team started with you. So you're gonna have a call with XYZ person, our
Steph,
our
Savannah,
closer.
those are the steps.
Yeah,
Whole
and
thing.
this and that, and then they get onboarded with all that information, so there's never any of that confusion. However, like I would still funnel a lot of leads, but just make it really clear that like, yo, you're not working with me. I'm not gonna be in your Slack. You don't have direct access to me, but I oversee all projects. And it's all like I created all of our processes and trained everyone, and that's how it runs. So yeah, I kept that in mind early on when I built the brand, and I built the process and the messaging, even when I was the account manager. It was, and then eventually when I started hiring account managers, and it's also from like an agency model too. It's like everyone, you guys have gone through this too, when you were like new, it's like, what are the first hires we make? Do we hire people to liaison with the clients? Do we hire people to take care of some of the admin work? Do we hire people to, what is it exactly? And it's always, again, it comes down to what your shortcomings are and what you want to really own. And yeah, so I feel like I wanted a side quest. What was your...
Well, I think you were covering it, but one thing that is related to that is, what were you noticing in yourself or your own decision process that had you go, I want to focus more on the mastermind
Yes.
versus I want to continue running this agency? Because I feel
Yes.
like there was probably an internal thing that triggered that.
Yeah, so I think like after like 2021, 2022, kind of, we created everything. We had a very grounded probably quarter.
Mhm.
And then after that, I was like, okay, now that we have this down, how do we slowly start like ramping things up to get to somewhere more comfortable? And as we were doing that was when like I launched the mastermind, and then I would notice like during my launch months and everything, I just wouldn't want us to take on as many clients.
Yeah.
Because I still was overseeing everything. Like we had an account manager, and we had my operator. However, I still I wanted to make sure quality control wise that I was looking at every site that we delivered. So we'd have really slow quarters, and honestly like really like chunks of time that were really slow if I had a retreat, or if I had a launch or something like that. And then I started noticing that like I was also capped in my ability to grow my personal brand and have this impact that I thought I had with all these other agency owners. Because something else too, it's like I wish I could have, I'm grateful for the journey, but I wish I would have circumvented those like 2 years where I really lost my shit.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like if I had the support system early on to like kind of guide me into how to do everything in a way that felt better for me, felt better for my health and my nervous system, and like allowed me to make more money. So I just had such a passion for it kind of really being in that role of helping people out with that. And then Nadim and I originally spoke about Nadim taking over, you guys taking over Lumina initially. This was over early 2025.
Beginning
Yeah.
2025.
Early
Yeah.
2025.
Early 2025. And I remember that was the first time, like, I was like, okay. Because the other thing, too, was I was like, in my mind, I was like, before I sell it, I'm going to fucking crank for like a quarter or 6 months, really drive up the revenue.
Stat pad that EBITDA.
Yeah. To get like a really sick trailing 12 months. But when I spoke to you guys, I hadn't done that, but I was kind of like, I was like, I'd rather, I just was not in a push phase of my life.
Yeah.
And I also knew how sound the model was, that if I had people with like a fraction of like the passion that you guys had, just breathing new light into it,
Yeah.
new life into it, then it would just like, it would be something really great. But I was like, I don't really, I was kind of going through like my soft girl season at that point.
Yeah.
And I was like, but anyways, we had spoken about it. That was before you guys had created Praxis or like
Oh, yeah.
it was, and it didn't really make sense. So the
Right.
thing that I knew was that I kind of okay, imagine a scenario where like you want to like rehome your dog. You don't want to take your dog to the shelter, and by the shelter I mean like the marketplaces where it's like a free for all, you know?
Right.
And you want to like make sure like one of your friends or someone you really care about will like kind of be in on the process with you, because then it'll be, you know, they're going to get a lot of value out of it, and there's that alignment piece, and then you know it's going to be taken care of in a good way.
Yeah, you created this thing. You want it to be taken care of. Just like somebody, if you're handing your child to a teacher, please take care of my kid.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want it. I want to see it really crush.
Well, I know, like, just because I'm one of your best friends, I mean, I know that was a desire from many people, because there was a handful of other people that you were considering in the cell as well. Some of them I know, and I know it was a request from all of them was like, hey, I only want to buy this if you're going to be involved. But I mean, I've sold a business before, and that's counterintuitive. I want to get out of the fucking business.
Yeah, why would I
Yeah.
be selling if I want to keep it?
Yeah, I have other things that I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know, and so no,
Yeah.
you know, but I can speak to like 2025 and like why it wasn't the right time. I don't even want to say it was like unaligned,
Yeah.
because it was like, man, this I can see it. I can see the light at the end of the funnel, right? I can see it.
Well
I
done.
was like, man, there's a lot of good opportunity here with integrating Lumina into what we were doing. It was almost more though, if we would have done it at that time, Lumina would have became the business,
Yeah.
right?
For
Rather
sure.
than integrating it into what we were actually already building,
Yeah.
right? Because the overlap, I could not. It's like peanut butter and jelly. I mean, I could not think of a better sandwich or synergy between the people that you serve and the people that we serve. And I mentioned
being so clear with the events and then the
Correct.
website templates.
And like as I mentioned earlier, you build these front end really beautiful brand aesthetics for people.
storefronts, right? But now you got to get people to the store, get them in the store, get them to buy things.
Exactly. And then we take over the back end. And so it makes so much sense to do it now, which, you know, it's done and signed, and I'm so happy and grateful and thankful. But at that time, one of the biggest things that actually stuck out to me, and I think maybe like towards the end of the podcast, we can talk a little bit more about it too, is like, I am so deep in AI. I was definitely an early adopter before like even ChatGPT.
Yeah, for sure.
Not a coder by any means, but I was really early, like 2018 is when I started getting into it. And then, you know, things have just been lightning speed since. And one of the things that stuck out was like, well, God, as fast as it's going, I just don't know if like websites are going to be a thing.
Yeah,
you know?
I
Like,
remember. I remember that used to stress me out, and it'd even be like, I don't know, man. Like I don't know where this AI
This is
thing's
my
going.
favorite arc in this story, by the way.
Yeah, 'cause it's almost like as AI has developed and gotten better, the more confident you are that website templates aren't going anywhere.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
Because we're up till 3 a.m. trying to figure out AI, and it's like people on Instagram make it sound so easy.
Yeah,
like you,
yeah.
I've put 30 hours into this website alone.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're just seeing the first fold, but
Yeah.
like I probably put 5 hours into this first fold.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
also for somebody like you to spend 30 hours on that, you're doing it because it's like fun, and you're kind of like you want to control every little mini element. Not everyone wants to do that.
No.
right, with the context of knowing how to use Claude very well.
For
Exactly.
sure.
And the
For
context
sure.
of knowing websites. That's a
Exactly.
critical piece when you
Yeah.
tell this. I think it's missed is Nadim has scoured so many websites.
Yes.
So you already came in baked in with that knowledge
For sure.
that
And
a
help from
random
you.
person.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So
true.
Exactly. Like you should make that
if you
connection.
if you were to bake all that in, probably over 100 hours.
Plus all
Right.
the dev work that needs to be done.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And
And that's the other key piece here, which Lumina has on lock, is like, okay, cool. We have this amazing website,
Yeah.
which is beautiful. You can go to it, link in bio. We have this beautiful website, and we can publish it on Netify or Vercel or whatever, or like tie the domain, and it's our builtbypraxis.com. But when you use AI to build a website, and even this one right here, you then have to pass it off to a dev.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's so much junk code in here because you're using AI in the wrong way that it's like, it's going to fuck with your site speed, which just kills all deals, kills so many deals. And most times when I've worked with devs and I hand them over something that I've made or like an app that's been made, they're like, God, I wish you would have just came to me first.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Because the scaffolding is completely wrong. The site architecture is completely wrong. Right? And so the value of like having websites, which is like what we're most excited about integrating, because we're not going to be doing custom websites. We have referrals for anybody who wants one. Is the website in a week, because we will be doing the website in a week, the website sprints. And we'll also be doing the templates and expanding on the templates. Because, for example, our clients right now, like one of them, Well, I'll speak for one of them. He's really big in the men's space, and he's got a program where he teaches, men how to develop a men's coaching program, right? And he's got millions of followers, hundreds of thousands of millions of views. And, he fills these cohorts up, and they have 100 people in them that are going to learn how to develop a men's coaching program. Well, guess what they need, right?
A website.
A website.
Yeah.
Right? They need a landing page. They need a sales page. They need an about page, right? And so it integrates really well with our clients because 7 out of 9 of the current clients are BizOp, right? So if like you're a BizOp agency or a BizOp company where you have a course or a training or you're doing the meta thing, so coaching coaches, they're going to need a place to make their sales, right? And so that's where the templates are really exciting for us because we're going to be able to integrate those into as an additional service for them. And then also just there's so many creators that have massive audiences that, just have the potential to lean and leverage on them as well for the templates. And so all that to say is my concern a year and a half ago was, well, God, I don't know where AI templates are going to be, but if anybody's ever built a website with AI, it sucks.
You
It
get
sucks. It's
Yeah.
HTML and it's like
Yeah.
bubbles and blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. And then you got the people who are like, Claude's going to kill websites. Claude's going to kill, meta ads. Claude's going to kill design. Well, if you've ever fucking actually commented AI on one of their posts and you got their skills and it does absolutely jack
Yeah,
shit because you
literally.
don't know what to do with it.
This is an emotionally
Literally.
charged
Listen,
rant here.
because
There's some trauma
because
baked in
Because
there.
it's grifting.
Yeah, it's grifting. It's anti-grifter. They're
Yeah.
doing it for growth they're doing it for, I know why they're doing it from a marketing perspective, but it's shit marketing because they're doing it to grow their profile. So they're doing it for vanity.
Yeah.
And then at the tail end of that, they're usually doing it because they're like, join my school program,
Right.
right? Where I'm going to teach you all this stuff. And like, that's not what's going to happen unless you're willing to put 40 hours in. And again, to Derek's point, like I have over 100 hours of like market research on websites and marketing. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So when you finish this, with all the contextual knowledge you have, you still asked Anna for her opinion, correct?
I still came to Anna for her
And
opinion.
did you still have edits?
Yes.
And things that you brought
multiple
up?
times.
Okay.
And she's been making
that's-
sites for 8 years.
So that's the piece is like you go to a jeweler for jewels.
Yeah.
So when you buy one of these templates, it's not just, oh, it looks pretty. You've done the work to analyze, create these templates that actually convert and work for people. And that's another thing I think misses when you're building it yourself. Like I have none of this technical background. If I tried to do it, I would have no idea.
The
I
conversion
was
piece,
like, this looks cool.
the conversion piece is another interesting part because it can look pretty, it can have the right words, but is it set up in a way
Yeah.
that's actually going to convert? Do you understand how to build a landing page? All the blocks that go into that.
Yeah.
So that way you don't have a fancy storefront with a door that doesn't open.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
People need to actually be coming to your business.
Like there's CRO psychology
that's
applied
a whole
to
nother
this.
that's a whole nother branch. It's like
Yeah.
design,
Yeah.
development, CRO.
And it's crazy too. I mean, I wish this weren't the case, but the thing that I have the most knowledge on out of anything in my life is a highly converting website, like a homepage or like a sales page.
Yeah.
The flow, what's involved, all the white space, all the simplicity, all the like subcontext and everything, imagery. And that last startup that I worked for in San Francisco, I worked hand in hand with a full-time head of growth and user acquisition that would do like user testing on the site, like different heat maps, things like that. So we would just consistently iterate on the site like pixel by pixel. And through that, I learned so much about like web conversion. So like, for instance, any of our clients that would come to us, I'd be like, okay, what is your top conversion of your site? Because your site will only do one thing. If like, for instance, let's say you have a site that has a base 10K retainer or something like that. The first time cold traffic gets on your site, it's unrealistic that they're going to sign up for a service.
Absolutely.
So what is the one conversion that like you want them to do? Would it be
Right.
get a freebie, sign up for your newsletter, sign up for a training, whatever that is, and then you really like reverse engineer every pixel of that site to nudge people towards that one conversion so that they become users, so that way they become
Leads
clients
in
in the
your
long run.
ecosystem. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's different too. If you're selling a $25 product, you want them to add to cart right away.
Right.
Mhm.
So it's really like that skill set is very unique, and that's something that I don't think AI really understands. And
Not even close.
and honestly, same here. I remember like in the last year and a half when everything really started blowing up, I've just been waiting to see what the implications are for a lot of my clients, what I do, a
Yeah.
lot of friends that I have. And ultimately it's like I think that AI for agency owners in particular is really just going to help with the back end and help with ops and allow the magic of what like the humans are creating to really shine.
Yeah.
Because it's going to like really cut a lot of the bullshit from the background and make your projects cleaner, quicker, and better. Because then humans are really going to be able to focus more energy on the strategy and more energy on the creative parts of it that AI is never really going to be able to touch.
I'm probably, this
Flip that.
probably going to be another emotionally charged moment
Let's
as
go.
well.
Here we go.
Okay. Is that when you're using AI for copywriting and for marketing ideas, it's going to be absolute shit.
Yep.
It's going to be absolute junk. For a couple of reasons. One, some more philosophical reasons. A, you're outsourcing your creative thinking, and that's just a slap to God's face, right? Like, what are you doing? Like, you are a creator. You're made in His image, like the ultimate creator, right? Literally, which is kind of like, it can get pretty fucking meta because He's like, let there be light, and then there's light, right? And I can go to this LLM and I can be like, give me an idea for dog walking business. It's like poof, right? It's like, whoa, it's kind of strange. But you're outsourcing your ideas and your thinking, and what happens is there's going to be atrophy there. And there was actually a pretty sizable study done at MIT that talked about the atrophy of your creative thinking when using ChatGPT and these other LLMs, because you're not even able to like I could tell you what's on this website because we actually went back in and did the copy, right? We gave it so much input and so much input.
That's the key piece is like,
oh God,
AI can give you good outputs, but it's the quality of the data that goes in determines the quality of the input that comes out.
yeah.
Sure.
And a lot of people are garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah.
And they're wondering like, oh, it doesn't work. It's like,
It's
no, you
AI
just don't know how to
slop.
prompt it.
And like what you're saying is very similar to remember when like MapQuest first came out and like Google Maps and everything. I just use Google Maps to get everywhere. If I didn't have it, I wouldn't be able to get to my gym that I go to every day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
most
you
people
just
today
become
can't
so
read a map.
reliant. It's like that part of my brain
That's
is
an
just like
interesting
offline.
analogy.
It's atrophied.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like I now at this point, like I remember when I first discovered LLMs, like when I first got on chat, like 2 years ago was when I think I started like really going into it and then using it for everything and like, hey, look at this difficult conversation I had with this
Yeah.
person.
Mm.
Hey, look at like,
Yeah.
you know, how do I write
Terrible.
this? And then to this point where I do not consult with any LLM I use about my personal life, and I also don't consult with it on copywriting at all because I was getting stupid.
Yeah.
Like I've always loved writing and it turned me into such a lazy writer.
Yeah.
And then also I just cannot with the language patterns of these things. Like it's not this, it's this. And like these short fragmented statements that like, you know,
You can hear it
everyone's like,
everywhere.
yeah. So it's like, I think I if I'm like leaving like fucked up punctuation and like a typo into things, I'm like, I hope that is, you know, that is
Yeah.
more of an art now.
Yeah, if you write it and then have it edit, it can be really supportive. But if you have it right and then you go back and edit, you just feel like
Yeah, like my favorite way of using
Polishing
it
a
too.
turd.
You're
Yeah.
putting
Or like I'll have it like add bridges or like add missing
Yeah.
parts to like weave things together better. But I think like really having it start right from scratch.
Yeah, you
So-
got to drive the machine.
Yeah,
Don't let the machine
So I
drive
bring
you.
this up because using AI for marketing ideas is a terrible idea, but where the people are going to really rip are the individuals like us who are using marketing for operations, right? You're putting jet fuel on a fire.
Yeah, because
Right.
pulling a Zoom list
You're
and
using
splitting
a
it,
tool.
it's
Yeah.
going to be the same exact output regardless if you do it or AI does it.
Yeah, and
Exactly.
think about it. Like if you guys are working on a project, let's say you, Derek, you know, you're like within the scope of a project that or a service that you're offering. If like let's say you allot for 5 hours a week with this client to do XYZ, now you get AI to do things that maybe used to take 3 or 4 of your hours to do that, and then you now have 5 hours of human time to pour into them. So it's like through the years too, I've like had I remember when I used to start having certain contractors come in that were so scared of AI and wouldn't know how to use it, and they'd be scared of using it and it would replace them. I'm like, no, dummy. This is like making your job better. You still work the same amount of time, but you just have something doing the grunt work for you so you can focus on like what you're good at.
You use it to improve quality on certain things, and in other areas, you use it to get your time back. And if you use it in those two ways, it can be really, really powerful. But
Yeah.
you're not
For sure.
outsourcing your thinking,
Yeah.
the part that makes you you.
Yeah, and I get a little charged too when I see people do what I just did, which is like AI is like you're using it for marketing, you're outsourcing everything, and I was like, okay, but you're actually missing a piece too, which is the piece that you're missing is the marketing operations, right? And that's because you're not an operator and you're not doing that part, and that's why you're stuck at the revenue that you are, is because you don't have the back end operations. And so then when you learn how to use it to exponentially leverage your operations, it's just like I mean, I am like jumping for joy because I'm like, I have an ally that works for me
Yeah.
all the time. And I the one example he just mentioned, and like this is a big thing, so it's very niche, but it's a lot of people who do like workshops. And one thing that I'm going to drop some beta for you right here.
Go.
If you're running a workshop and let's say you have 3,000-4,000 people on there, it's common sense. So you have 3,000-4,000 people on there.
Starter
And-
amount.
Starter amount. So you have 3,000-4,000 people on there, and 1,000 people attend, and then you chuck all those people into an email sequence afterwards. Well, that sucks because now you're talking to everybody the same. Right? You're treating them like they attended. That you just immediately just lose trust with your brand. They're like, I didn't even attend. Like, give me unsubscribe. So all that money and time that you put into your front end brand, your social media, your ads to acquire to get that lead, they now just opt out because they just lost trust with you. And so if you don't have relevancy communication, then you're just missing so much on the table. You're missing building rapport with your customers, potential customers, and you're just losing trust in general as a brand. And so, for example, it used to take me, I don't know, maybe 90 minutes after a workshop would end for somebody to download the Zoom report, separate them by attended, by not attended. This is like before even ChatGPT could fucking do it. Like I would literally manually select, create new CSV, blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
Clean it up, remove the weird names in there, right? Who put like A for their name, you know? Like that sucks because if you're using custom values.
Yeah, hey, A.
that
What's up,
sucks.
A?
Yeah, what's up? You know, it's like, these are the little things that I'm
Yeah.
talking about right
Yeah.
here. And so literally I put maybe 10 hours into a skill development within Claude that will literally by a prompt, let there be light.
Yeah.
By a prompt,
/ attendance report.
pull the attendance report for Derek, right? Goes to the Zoom account, pulls the attendance, separates them by attended, by not attended, cleans up the list, adds the tag that I need, upload it automatically into Go High Level or Kajabi or whatever, fires off the automations. So it's like that's happening within 10 minutes of your workshop ending.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Right.
That's insane, right? It's kind of like there's actually a section on our page where you can leave us a voice note. So please go do that. And it'll literally go to one of us and we can message you back. Because this is a legit stat that if you respond to somebody within 5 minutes of opting in, you're 10 times more likely to close a deal. 10 times more likely, right? So when they get off that workshop, they're so hot. Right? And so that is just an example of marketing operations today using AI in a way. And that's just one.
And I will say, as a business, like, you know, Nadeem's one of my best friends, and he's always like coming to me being like, oh my God, I just learned how to do this thing where you leave voice memo and da-da-da-da-da. And then myself as a business owner, I'd be like, oh my God, that sounds so cool, but how am I going to do that? You know what I mean? So create a business where you guys can support people. I can tell you for a fact, like none of your clients would be able to like even think of these things to even keep their finger on the pulse the way that you guys do, let alone build it out or do any of these things internally.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
you have to do it 10,000 times to know how to create the skill to do it exactly the way you wanted it.
And then also to know that it works.
Yes.
To know that they're like positive, there are positive results from it.
Yeah.
And from the marketing side for us, as I've continued to refine how we position Praxis as a brand, we're really in the who market, not the how market. So there's a whole bunch of people who go to YouTube or Instagram or social media or newsletters or forums to try and solve a problem that they're experiencing in their business. And fundamentally, there's two different categories of people. There's how people and there's who people. And the how people are figuring out, they're looking for tactics. They're looking for step-by-step SOP type material so they can be the one to go into their business and execute. That's not who we're looking for fundamentally at Praxis. So we're looking for who people, which is I'm looking to this creator who is informing me on a subject, but I'm only looking for competence enough to hire them and just you do it. Because fundamentally they understand that their time is best spent in their zone of genius, not trying to master the craft somebody else has already shed the blood and the tears mastering themselves. I'm just going to essentially buy their life in pain and get them to do it for me without having to go through it myself.
And another great way of looking at it too is like, this is also something else I learned from Chris Harder. my old mentor was like assigning a dollar amount to your like hourly rate, not saying for like clients, if a client comes
Yeah.
to you like, hey, can I have an hour of your time?
Right,
But
right.
more so the way that you scope out projects. So knowing that anytime you guys, a client comes in,
Mhm.
like when you look at pricing models, like the first month is onboarding, it costs this much. Ongoing, it's going to cost da 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 da. You sit down, the three of you guys together. First month, how much of your time goes into a project? How much of your time? Track that using dailytimetracking.com for your own reference. Like not to share with people, but to figure out how you can iterate on it or where you're really leaking time, thus money.
Mhm.
And then but like really getting clear on like what is an hour worth of my time, which is
Right.
actually priceless. But like how do you assign a dollar amount to that so that way you can properly price out your projects
when
too?
to outsource it. I think Dan Martell talks a lot about that in the Buy
Yeah.
Back Your Time.
Okay, yeah. So it's like that helps you, I think
Yeah.
will help a lot of people wrap their minds around like what's outsourceable. Because there's
Yeah.
also like I always work with this delegation quadrant
Yeah.
where it's like what I like doing and what I'm good at, what I don't like doing and what I'm good at.
Yeah.
What I don't like doing and what I'm not good at, and then
Right.
like what I am not good at but I like doing, which is
Right.
kind of more in the educational
Hobby.
Like, yeah,
You call
hobby.
it probably like a hobby.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like then if you know what like let's say your hourly rate is $1,000 an hour, but you know like setting something up is going to cost you 20 hours, and I hate doing it. Versus I want to do it and I want to learn how to do it, which is something that we kind of fuck around with a lot, especially with AI. Like you doing the website.
Yeah.
You blew money. You could have like hired
Yeah,
somebody to
I was
do
thinking
that.
about that when he said how much time you spent.
And just
I could use one of our templates.
yeah,
Literally.
that's like that is that one part like not good at but like doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then it's like fine, do it.
Yeah.
But like
Exactly.
if you didn't enjoy that process or you got nothing out of it, that would have been a waste of time
Yeah.
and money.
And
you
there
know?
are those moments in the business.
Yeah. He
And,
didn't
like-
trade working hours though. He just trade sleep.
Yeah,
Good
there you
trade.
go. Yeah, for sure.
Well, and I know you narrowed it down to like 4 or 5 people when it came to selling
Oh yeah.
Lumina. And so selfishly, I'd love to hear why you said yes to us.
Oh yes. So kind of going back, closing the loop on that. So basically, initially when we were in discussion was before you guys had created anything, and I thought too. I remember I had like a weird feeling around like the anticipation of knowing if it was going through or not, because I also the way that was set up and structured and like the lack of business that you guys had before, I was like, I don't know how I don't know how the torch is gonna be passed onto them unless they become a custom design agency.
Yeah.
Right.
And you guys did not have experience running
Yeah.
a design agency.
Yeah,
Right.
And that's what I
No.
meant. Like, if we would have done it then, Lumina would have had to have been the business,
For
Right.
sure.
right?
Yeah.
Rather
Right.
than a sister
Yeah.
company that supports all of our existing clients in all
Exactly.
of these ways.
And then that's way too much pressure, especially since you guys don't have direct experience doing that.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, now you're a website designer
Yeah.
and developer. You
Hey.
are now.
Hey.
But
Certified by Claude.
seriously. But after we kind of, we were talking for a few months, and then after we decided not to proceed, I was like, I need a break. Because you guys know I don't like Zoom calls, and I don't like
Back
figuring
Zoom,
things
back
out.
Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, I need a little break from this. And then like without trying, I had people approach me without really knowing
Mhm.
and ask and have conversations about it. And then I started I'd reach out to some of my mentors and I'd be like, hey, do you have anybody you'd want to introduce me to that does XYZ? So I kind of went back into the game, and I had, besides you guys, I had 3 other very serious buyers that I had like a 2-month engagement with. And every time after my experience with you guys, I got very clear on a boundary, and I was like,
Mm.
I'm not involved in delivery or like ops or anything like that
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
after the acquisition.
Yeah, the fulfillment of Lumina is so good that you shouldn't have to be.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I know.
genuinely.
It's literally like I don't trust me.
Yeah.
I know. So but still like just from I think it was people that kind of wanted more of like the partnership with me and like
Yeah.
the longer term relationship with
sense.
me. So and they're
You can't
also
have her.
But now you've got the mastermind. So like they can still get that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they can pay to
exactly.
play.
I'll send it- yes.
Shameless plug. I'm helping out.
Thank you. And then also, I think like business types too, all 3 of them were web design agencies. And then when I would think about it, it's almost like putting together your ideal partner list. When you're single, you put together a list and you're like, this is what they do. This is what we do together. They do this and they do that. So it's like, if I were able, you guys fulfilled my ideal partner list, because it was like, I wanted an agency that offers a service that we don't offer to
Perfect.
the same clientele
Yeah.
to really leverage the brand, like that the brand that I took, the credibility that we built over the last 10 years and all of the context that we have and all of what we built, all of what we had built out to work in conjunction with what they have to kind of cross sell and go back and forth versus like a web design agency that's really wanting to like build it out the way that it was. Like, I don't know, just the way that you guys have your business set up, I think is like chef's kiss perfection. So, anyways, the last deal that didn't go through was like earlier this year. And then same thing. I was just like, okay, I was like, it's still running. Like we're still kind of, it's still doing its thing. But to me, I was like, I just like want somebody to build something really dope with it.
Yeah.
Like, I just want somebody to flip the switch again and just get cranking with
Yeah.
it because I'm not leveraging it for that right now,
Right.
And also, sorry, through that, I had one other person that wanted to come on as a partner, like as a 50-50 partner. And I like considered that for a little bit. And I was like, I've run this thing on my own for so long that I was like, I don't know how I would do with a business partnership now.
Yeah.
And then I feel like I would have to like really be showing up for someone else. And like, I don't know if I want to do that in this season.
Right.
I would have done that, I think, early on, but right now I don't think so. So anyways, we just started. Nadim was in Arizona like 2 months ago, was it?
Yeah.
A month and a half, 2 months ago. We didn't talk about any of this then, but that was when like he was telling me more about Praxis and what you guys were doing, and it was more of just like a well-oiled machine, and you guys had proven your concept, and you're really growing. And then I was on a walk in Sedona last month, and I was just like, I should talk to Nadim. I was like, I should talk to Nadim about this. And it's weird too, because it's like I didn't know if that would be something you guys would be interested in, but I was like, wait, this feels a lot better for me now than like what it was back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like trying to put a square peg in a round hole back then.
Yeah.
Now it's like the puzzle fits.
Yeah.
And
Fits quite perfectly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because from our side, like we service the very top end of the market. And so we would have some overlap if we carried over the web design thing, which none of us really have the passion, the bandwidth to deal with. It's just not in any of our zones of genius. But we've replaced that with the virtual events and doing really full stack marketing operations for anybody who wants to run an event. But we are very aware at how prohibitive it can be for the retainers that we charge because we're very premium service. We work with high-end clients. And so at least the fit for me from a branding perspective is now we have a middle stepping stone in the customer journey of we can still serve people who are building their brands. They're on the way up. Yep. We don't have to completely ignore those people, and we can tie it to the Praxis brand with the understanding that like we're going to help you out big time here in the price to value discrepancy is going to be really high at the bottom to help people leapfrog and eventually potentially they go big enough to partner with us and do an event.
Yeah.
So it fits in perfectly with our customer journey and being able to serve and ultimately help more creators reach their people.
Yeah, and the template shop and like our desire with it and the direction that we're going to go is you already have 10 plus templates that are absolutely stunning, which is enough for now, right? But as we continue to focus on how to like integrate these into Go High Level, what I really love about this is like everyone has probably heard it is the age of the creator, right? Like there's no reason why you should not have a personal brand. Zero reason, unless you absolutely don't want to.
Yeah.
Right. But if you're online for two reasons. You're either just consuming for brain rot or you're creating. Like those are the two things. And now there's like some subsets of that, specifically on the creator side. If you're creating, what are you creating for? Right? Like, where are you driving them? Right? Because I know a lot of people who have massive followings that don't have anything to sell or don't know how to sell.
Right.
I know creators with hundreds of thousands of followers who can't make $10 fucking dollars.
Yeah.
Right? And then I know creators who have like 6,000 followers who have seven-figure businesses.
Yeah. You wouldn't even realize.
You wouldn't even realize it, dude. You wouldn't even realize. Like, I'm a smaller creator, right? And I post like once a month.
Yeah.
Right?
You got to get that up. It's rookie numbers.
I know, right? And do really well. And so it's the templates and Lumina becomes an opportunity for our existing clients, but also for those people who are like, I don't know where to begin or where to start with my personal brand. And the way I look at like Instagram, for example, because that's most people's business card, right? And in most places is like, I think of it as like your bedroom walls. It's like you got all the posters on the wall, right? So it's like people land on your Instagram and they're going to see a little bit about you. It's kind of like having a friend over for the first time and they see your Led Zeppelin poster and they see your like Black Sabbath poster, right? And they like see the little like
What
knickknack
year were
over
you
there.
born?
Yeah, you know, and they just get a feel for you, right? And so
course.
like that's what Instagram is like. They're gonna get a feel for you, and then most people, you don't have to tell people click the link in bio.
Yeah.
All right, like, people fucking know where to go.
Right,
Okay,
right.
they're gonna click your link in bio if you're interesting, and they're gonna click it, and then they're gonna have this beautiful place.
That's the doorway into your business.
That's the doorway into the ecosystem.
Another piece I don't think anybody's mentioned yet is just how big I believe, because I know that I did it when I started my first fitness business, how much of a overwhelming, insurmountable task I would build it up into my brain of building a website was to me
Yeah.
as a creator at the
Yeah.
time. I'm like, how am I going to figure all this out? And then you just end up, the friction of starting is so
Yes.
incredibly high that I just never do it.
Yeah.
And so if I would have known a thing like Lumina existed, I'm like, I can just erase this, like delete this problem
Yeah.
for $700.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And continue to
Okay.
focus on the
I
thing
can
I
just
am
delete
good
this
at.
problem and it's done in an hour.
Yeah, the
I can
templates
just
range
move
from like
on.
$400 to $800. I'm like, why
Yeah.
would you not do
And
that?
you just touched on what I was going to wrap up with as well.
Yeah.
That's literally why I created the template shop, because
Yeah.
early on, and this actually came to me during a plant medicine ceremony, because I was always like, I'm not doing, I never, in the beginning too, I would just like, to me, it was more about the artistry of the custom site. And I was like, we work with high-end clients, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. During my plant medicine ceremony, I was like, hey, a lot of people need support right now, and people procrastinate
Yeah.
because they're like, I need a logo. Like, who the fuck
Yeah,
cares
I
about
need
your
color
logo?
palettes.
Yeah,
I
and
need
colors.
fonts.
And it's
yeah.
like, for the average person, that
don't
is
care.
really difficult. And then you think about, even if you go to a small studio or designer, that's still going to cost you thousands of dollars to put
Yeah,
together.
Exactly.
So most people don't have those resources. If there's like a plug and play way of getting like a color palette, font combinations, a logo, you can start Instagram graphics right away, because you already have your brand guidelines then, and then you build a simple landing page that has like been formulated in a way that converts for exactly what you're doing with your program.
Yeah.
So it's like I've seen people block themselves so
Yeah.
much from that
Yes.
procrastination.
Yeah.
Or overspending.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
just
oh
launch
my
a
God.
business. Why would you want to spend money on a custom? People would come to
like
us for
$5,000,
custom sites.
$10,000, even more.
Yeah, I would decline them immediately, and I'd be like, I think you should start with the template.
Yeah.
Even if you have the money, if you have the capital, whatever, I think you should prove your concept first with
Yep.
this message to this audience, with this template.
Yeah.
Get that up and running. Once that's working, then invest in a custom site.
Yeah, and that's
So
the
smart.
philosophical alignment that Lumina and Praxis have too. Is like, we're gonna tell you no.
Yeah.
Like, if
People
we
of
can't support,
integrity. Yeah.
yeah, if we can't support you, or we can support you, but you're not at the stage to do it now, like we've told people no. And again, Lumina does help support fill that gap as well, like you had just said.
Yeah.
It's
Being
somewhere-
able to still service them.
Exactly. And like, I love what you said. It's like people start going all in, or they procrastinate and they try and go, or they go all in on these websites. And I actually take the stance of like, you need a fucking offer first. Like, you like
Make
sell
some money.
sell
Yeah.
something first.
Yeah.
Right? Sell something first, and then you can come get a template for $300 to $700, and like
Yeah.
then we can make it like nice and pretty, and then we can talk about like marketing operations and get your Kajabi course or go high level or
Yeah.
whatever you want to sell it on. You know what I mean? Like, start there first.
Yeah.
Start there first. So we're getting close to time. I guess I want to know like what's next for Anna, what's next for Lumina, and then we'll close out with what's next for Praxis.
Okay, so I ended up taking a 6-month mini sabbatical. So it was a sabbatical as in like Lumina has just been kind of, I have my operator running it. And I just haven't done any launches. Like, I skipped my last mastermind launch, my last retreat, because I was like, I want to get clear on my personal brand. And I think my block from content the last like 10 years has been like, I have a real job. Like, I'm not going to spend time on like my newsletter and my Instagram and all these other things. So I really went all in with that and education, and also AI. So every week I spend 5 hours of like time on education and implementation. My boyfriend and I will go to a coffee shop and like build things out together. To really learn that, and really, in the seasons between my mastermind, I try to really just learn as much as possible, and execute that. So I've really been in that space. So I haven't really, the sabbatical wasn't like a sabbatical per se, but it was not like in reaction mode to like inbound stuff from other people,
Yeah.
if that makes sense, like clients or team or anything like that. So that was like, I think, a really nice break from my nervous system. And then I'm actually in the process right now of Jim Carter and I, he's one of my AI mentors. He's been have you guys met him or heard of him?
I've mentioned him a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's where
I
the
know him
name's
well.
familiar.
Yeah, he's in the Slack community. He's great. He used to own a development. He's like an OG CTO.
Boy's wicked smart.
Yeah, and he like owned a web design agency, and then now he just like does AI like he does immersions with people. And so I had the idea of doing these hackathons with him. In like LA and Austin, where it's like a full day where we pick like 3 different routes for people. Like either like imagine like you got building this in a room with us.
Yeah.
And so you have 3
That's an
routes:
offer.
build a landing page, build AI agents, build out funnels and like Instagram stuff.
That's really cool.
So you pick that, and then you spend the day with us, and it just like we put everybody in pods that are working on similar projects or have similar business types, and they just build out and share what they're doing. Him and I walk around supporting everyone. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah.
We're going to have our first one, I think, in Austin, probably first week of June. And then we want to do those pretty regularly. And I think my intention is to really open the level of AI that we all immerse ourselves in to everyone else and make it seem less intimidating.
Yeah.
And women especially, I really want to work on empowering them to get comfortable with AI and AI builds to make their lives a lot easier. So that's kind of what I've been immersing myself in lately. And then I'm running it back with my mastermind in August too. So I'm going to do a new cohort of that. And I have a membership community that you guys are in as well. I love that community.
Yeah,
Just where I like
it's
share
the best.
resources and bring different founders together.
I feel at home there because the things, so you have those buckets that's like the Eisenhower matrix essentially. And it's like the things that I like to do, but maybe shouldn't be doing,
Yeah.
right? Which is like this stuff. Like those are my late night sprints, oftentimes if it's not client stuff. And I try and reserve that space for that. And so like, for example, I connected Kajabi into Claude, right? Huge.
Yeah.
Huge. Because if anybody knows on Kajabi, you're limited on what you can do. I have never had more visibility into our Kajabi than by doing this, right? Because I'm able to pull in, let's just say, all my expenses from QuickBooks. I'm able to pull in all of the revenue, capital R revenue, gross revenue from Kajabi, and then I can deduct expenses associated to a specific training or cohort, and then find out which cohort is the most profitable, right? And so like being able
Like
to
a nerd or something?
being able to do that is so clutch. And so I'm sad I'm going to miss the hackathon.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
I know. I was even because I know when you're going away too. When I was thinking about it with John sorry, I'm getting this is my 90-minute mark. I told Nadeem, I was like, around 90 minutes of talking is when I got like a little loopy. But when I was thinking about it with Jim, I was like, I know Nadeem leaves.
I know.
We'll get the next one.
We'll get it in. Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
get it in. We got some big travel trips. These guys and I were locking in Phoenix for a good
We are.
40 days.
Oh, sweet.
are.
Yeah.
Very excited.
I leave on the 20th or the
Cool.
18th. I leave on the 18th. We're locking in Phoenix for 40 days.
Great.
And then
It's a long time.
yep, I'm going overseas in July. I'm going to go to Italy with my sister, Portugal, and we're going to go to Bali and
meet up.
lock in there too.
Meet up in Indonesia.
Yep. So I'm going to take the Anna playbook of the opposite
Let's go.
Slack and create that
Yeah.
white space.
Yeah.
Um,
You're not creating anything new though, because you
No.
guys got that locked.
there's nothing
you guys got
new.
that
There's
locked
no
in.
newness. There's only better.
Yeah.
We
There's
just
only
got to keep
better and
doing more of what we're already doing.
Yeah.
There's
Like
only better.
So many creators out there just have a powerful message and they need to spread it.
Yeah.
And they just don't have the skill set to be able to do
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah,
so
when we re-engaged in this deal, one of the things I shared with you that was like most important for us, and you actually brought this up to me, and I was like, that's very true, is like we're finally at a stage where it's been the last 3 months, and there's been like a little bit of coloring outside the lines where it's like it's controlled chaos, meaning it's like it's contained. Like there's nothing that could go
We all
wrong.
feel good.
Yeah, there's nothing that could go wrong or
Most of the time.
go astray in any of our clients' work that we couldn't handle,
Yeah.
right? Or solve, or like, minor tweak, press this button, pull this lever, turn this dial, and it's
Right.
like, hey, back on track, right? And like that's the things that I'm looking at is like the frequency of those, and I mean they have been rather non-existent, right? And
Right.
I was like, so that was something that I really wanted to protect going into this deal. Is like, I don't want to add something so new,
Yeah.
which that's
Right.
what Lumina a year and a half ago would have been to us,
Right.
but not today.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, is there anything else you'd like to share before I close out for everyone?
Oh,
Plug yourself. Where can people find you? Where can they learn more about you if they want to
thank
go
you.
further?
Anna doing things.
Anna doing things on Instagram.
Yeah.
On Instagram?
Yeah.
All your stuff will be linked there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
check it out.
Pretty much.
10 out of 10 recommend going to her mastermind on how to, it's a mastermind for agencies. So
yeah.
go check it out. I've been to multiple. I've always had massive breakthroughs.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, anything for you?
Oh, not that I can think of on the top of my moment now that he called on me.
Yeah.
I know,
Right. No, I
I know.
know.
I had
Same,
something right
same.
before he
Yeah.
called on me.
No, just what's next is integrating Lumina.
Yeah.
Building that out.
Yeah.
Getting connected with your team.
Yeah.
And
then just
continuing to
constantly
iterate.
cranking, I think, with like different partnerships with different creators and like building out templates for them and for the people in their communities too.
Yeah.
I'm excited to support you guys with that. And
Well, Anna, we love you. We appreciate you so much. Everybody that's listening, we appreciate you. Check out builtbypraxis.com. You can go ahead and book a walkthrough. You can even leave us a voice note.
oh yeah.
And one of us will connect back to you. We make thought leaders, creators, entrepreneurs impossible to ignore. So if you're doing $50,000 a month or more, that practice is for you. And if you are not, if you're on your way up and you want a personal brand, we're now going to be able to offer you these templates that can help you build your personal brand and get started and off the road. Thank you so much.
Let's go.